All right, everybody, good morning. Welcome back to the channel. It's September 15th, 2024. We're going to finish up the last episodes of the last season of Continuum. We're going to do that today. We're also going to get into a really creepy NFL Little Caesars pizza commercial depicting a child abduction. Couldn't believe it. Now, I caught that one randomly. I was hanging out with some friends yesterday, eating some deer meat spaghetti, and sure enough, commercial comes on. I would have never seen that commercial unless one of you sent it to me. And there was a child abduction being depicted in a pizza commercial. I'll show that to you as well. We're also going to get into civil asset forfeiture programming in a brand new film. Couldn't believe that either. Watched screening this film, and sure enough, they have a whole discussion on civil asset forfeiture. And then at the end of the show, we're going to get into Joe Biden, Biden this time, wearing a MAGA hat. Yes, Joe Biden donned the MAGA hat. Welcome to Clown World, you guys. Now, let's go ahead and start with this clip I screened from this brand new film. The film is called The Ridge. It's actually called Rebel Ridge. Here's a couple clips I'm going to show you. Now, let me give you a little bit of the backdrop. This film is about racial police corruption in a small town, but more importantly, it explains how Trump expanded the civil asset forfeiture laws to include law-abiding citizens who are under any suspicion of any illegal activity. They can confiscate your property, and it's all at the discretion of the local law enforcement. So if a crime is suspected, or they say a crime is suspected, they take your stuff and you have to fight for it in court. And it's probably going to cost you twice as much as they took to get your stuff back. And so who in their right mind is going to do that? They're just going to let the police have it, right? Unless they want to make a point. So it's tyrannical, isn't it? It's a direct assault on personal property rights. And how this ever became a thing is just insane. Let's take a look at this. Watch this.
Thanks, Cindy. It's called civil asset forfeiture.
And it's legal?
Well, it's a law.
Right, but they didn't find any drugs, so.
All they need is suspicion, because the seizure isn't tied to any criminal charges. It's supposed to help the feds fight cartels.
Right,
and here's where it gets real murky. Chief gets to keep the proceeds, but when they bring this case, you won't even be named. It's literally going to it'll read the township of Shelby Springs versus $36,000.
so never mind the share what you remember the due process.
Doesn't matter. Either for discretionary funds, you can fight for the money, but that'll take you most of a year and cost you twice what you're owed because your property has no civil rights.
Okay, but you can help me get it back.
No, I mean, yes. What I can do is
Unbelievable, right? Everything we've been talking about, everything we've been going on and on about over the last 4 or 5 years. Now, the context here, let me give you the context of this movie. This guy rode into town with $30,000 in cash in a bag to bail his cousin out of jail. He's then racially profiled. He's actually on a bike when this happens. The cops racially profile him. He's got his headphones in so he doesn't hear the cops behind him trying to pull him over. They then do a pit maneuver on his bike, knock him to the ground, and they confiscate his cash because they say, oh, you're trying to bail someone out of jail who had drug charges. So we're going to confiscate this under civil asset forfeiture. Now, the rest of the movie is this guy trying to get his money back. His cousin dies in prison because he's not able to bail him out. And then he non-violently fights for justice against the small town. Now, he has special skills in the military. He knew jiu-jitsu and taught classes in it. So he has some special skills. Now, to me, this is probably hyperbole to instill fear in people, right? I live in a small town. Nothing like this has ever happened to me. Now, I did get pulled over once, but my tags were expired. And the guy freaked out because he thought that I had drugs. He did put his hand on his gun, but they were just Benadryl so that I could, I have allergy attacks sometimes. But he saw a whole bag of pink pills in the glove box, and that freaked me out a little tiny bit. But as long as you remain calm, it's okay, right? So they like to hyperbolize these situations with these long, drawn-out plots of people being targeted, because of their color. And I want you to know you don't have to believe that that's happening in America. Now, can it happen? Absolutely. But they want you to think that every black person should be driving around in complete fear that this is going to happen to them. And again, I live in a small town. This has never happened to me. I never feel unsafe at all. The times of my life where I have felt unsafe were in gang situations when I was growing up. Walking at night, cars pulling up, people shooting at you. That's when I felt unsafe, but not out here in rural America. It's so small of a town that they can't really get away with this kind of stuff. So let's keep going here. Because, let me tell you the rest of the plot. Now, here's the irony of all this. Essentially, the town sheriff is played by Don Johnson. Now, why Don Johnson continues to play in these racist roles, I don't understand this, because he used to play alongside Philip Michael Thomas in Miami Vice. They're like the black and white team. There was no hint of racism in this role, which is one of his most infamous roles. So, unfortunately, Don Johnson, they're casting him in these racist roles. There was a Western I watched in which Don Johnson played a racist. So, the only thing I can think of is these Freemasons love to stir the pot. They love to keep people divided. So, they have to do what they're told, right? So, they're like, okay, we need more racial division in America. Don Johnson, we need you to play a racist again. And he probably doesn't want to do this, but he has to in order to get these roles. Now, here is the irony of all this. Don Johnson plays the sheriff, and in Miami Vice, the whole premise of the TV series was a couple of cops driving around in civil assets that were seized from the drug cartels. Now, we had mentioned this, didn't we? Long before this Rebel Ridge movie came out, we talked about this. We talked about Don Johnson driving around in Miami Vice with civil assets, and we had a whole discussion on it. For those of you that follow the channel closely, you'll remember that discussion. So lo and behold, the script is now playing out, and it's almost as if, I don't like to say they watch the channel, but we're ahead of the game because we're walking in the spirit, aren't we? So now the movie is now reflecting what's happening in real life and what we've talked about already. Now, a little bit more on civil asset forfeiture, because we've been beating this drum for a very long time, haven't we? I believe civil asset forfeiture is what they'll use to erase the last remnants of real property rights. They'll do this with illegal, oppressive fines. And when you can't pay back those fines, they'll confiscate your property. But to see it clearly explained in this movie just blew me away. Now, one of you sent me a YouTube video about a guy who owned a winery in the Bay Area. And he had his help living on his property in an RV. Well, apparently someone got wind of that. Now, this guy was on a 60-something acre property, or 600 acre. I can't remember how much it was. And the RV was parked way back in the corner where nobody could see it. But yet the police came in. They said, you have to remove this RV from the premises because in Santa Clara County, you're not allowed to allow anyone to live in an RV on your property. So what did they do? They fined this guy, the owner of the winery, $1,000 a day. $1,000 a day for as long as he would not evict his helper. Now, the helper he had was a guy who probably runs the winery, and he wouldn't be able to hire anyone else if he didn't have the guy living on his property. Now, this has been going on, you guys, for hundreds of years. Farmers who have their people living on the property, but for some reason, now it's illegal. Now it's illegal. So the oppressive fines, somewhere in the Constitution, it says that oppressive fines are not allowed. And they probably did that on purpose because they knew that the government could just fine you into oblivion and take all your stuff. So we're supposed to be protected under the Constitution against this kind of tyranny. So this is crazy. Now, I got one more thing on civil asset forfeiture, because I believe this is in the Bible. Here it is. You guys, the acronym for civil asset forfeiture is CAF. And immediately what came to mind was the golden calf of the Bible. And literally the same thing happened. They confiscated everyone's golden earrings and ornaments, and they made the golden calf out of it. Unbelievable. So they probably intentionally made it so that the name of this practice says calf. I know the L's missing, but it's all about phonetics, right? The phonetics say calf, the golden calf. Now, let's finish up with Continuum Season 4. Now, most of it was a bust, pretty lame, except for one very profound revelation. And that was this. There were hypodermic needles, particle accelerators that opened portals to let demons in from the pit. Now, remember that Ozempic injection scene that we did from the Continuum TV series, where that lady was sitting there with the hypodermic needle, and then the guy she's talking to starts talking about a weight loss drug, and we're like, oh, that's Ozempic 3 years before it was invented. Well, it's a needle that becomes the key to activate the wormhole in the TV series. It's a pen-like device that they call a key. Let's play that for you guys. This is it right here. Now, this looks a lot like that device that we saw in Dune. The Gom Jabbar. Remember that? The sooty needle. Look, he's got a snake wrapped around his finger with a skull. And he puts the pen-like device into the time machine or the wormhole. This is the device. It looks like CERN, and I'll show you some clips of that as well. But in addition to the needle, to activate this device, you also need a sphere. This is the sphere. So these two devices is what opens up the wormholes. A sphere and a needle. Do you guys know where I'm going with this? I hope you do, and I hope you're paying attention, because we talked about this in the 1939 World of Tomorrow. Here it is right here. The Trilon and Perisphere. The needle and the ball. And this place, the World of Tomorrow 1939 World's Fair, was all about time travel, because you would go into the ball and inside they would show you the future. Now, there's a little bit more to this. This isn't just about time travel or the concept of it. There's more to this ball and needle, because we already figured all this out, didn't we? The portal to the soul opens with an injection and whatever's inside the injection, which is called the bolus. The needle and the bolus. So in order to merge us with a demonic spirit, they interrupt the natural reproduction with their own unnatural reproduction through the injection. You see, the needle is a phallic symbol. It represents in the natural the male parts, but in the unnatural, it's a needle. And this is how they get under your skin. This is how they get into your blood. This is how they get into the temple. The enemy sneaks into the temple through the needle. Now, the Bible says that there's power in the blood, right? There's life in the blood. The force of life is in the blood. And anything that they're trying to force into our blood has to be suspect, doesn't it? Bolus ball and the Trilon needle. Wow. Anyway, let's keep going here because the bad guys then open up a portal. And this is the device here. Let's play this back here. Here we go. And to me, what you're going to see next looks like CERN, which is, I believe, is really trying to open up a portal to the bottomless pit.
Let's run it. Open the portal.
Open the portal. It's tethering. There's the needle-like device that they plugged in. We get particles accelerating through a beam, obviously CERN-like. The beam opens up and a window appears, and this is where they travel through time. Now, at this point, Kellogg, which is the billionaire, remember, we looked this guy up. He's the billionaire in Continuum. We're going to call him JF Kellogg, like JFK, JF Kellogg. Why are we going to call him that? Well, because remember, his birthday in real life, the real life character's birthday is on the Kennedy assassination date, 10-year anniversary. He was born in 73. The assassination happened in 63, and he was born on November 22nd. So I believe this character is like the Trump character.
Let's run it. Open the portal.
So it's pretty obvious what's happening here. The Kellogg character sneaks through, but they basically sabotage him. They send him into the far distant past to get him out of the way because all he cares about is himself. Now, if you don't believe me about the Kellogg character, who is cast to represent the Trump JFK archetype based on his birthday, there was actually a real man named Kellogg who was associated with JFK, Charles Edwin Kellogg. Now, who was this guy? Well, let me show you a picture of him with JFK. They're shaking hands in this picture here. There's Kellogg with JFK. Well, Charles Edwin Kellogg was a soil scientist. And this just goes to show you how deep these scripts go. It's impossible. Like, who would spend the time on these scripts, right? To put all this detail in there, unless it was manifesting something much deeper on a spiritual level. Now, what's this all about? Well, Kellogg, in real life, the soil scientist, served in the USDA under the Kennedy administration, shaking hands with Kennedy. Now, this guy's not to be confused with Kellogg of cereal infamy, Kellogg's, cornflakes and all that. And I couldn't decisively link the two, so I looked it up because I wanted to know. I was like, wait a minute, what's going on? Is this guy the same guy? Here's Will Keith Kellogg from the Kellogg family. I looked up everyone associated with the Kellogg family, and this Charles guy did not show up. So apparently the two are different. Now I'll put a link to all this if you guys want to do additional research. But I searched this whole page, and I could not find a link between the two men. Now I say that because they're not linked through blood, or from what I could find, but they're linked in a different way, aren't they? the Kellogg family. Kellogg's get the cereal that's grown out of the soil. And guess what? They refused. These are some of the stories, you guys. Kellogg's tell consumers why they support Monsanto. Remember, San Monto is the corporation inside the TV series, and Monsanto is the real corporation who used Roundup and got a lot of people sick. Well, apparently, the Kellogg family, who made all of our cereal growing up, and I ate a lot of cereal, a lot of oatmeal, apparently all that had Roundup on it. What did that do to our bodies? I had bad allergies as a child. Now that we're adults, we know how to stay away from some of this stuff. But look at what happened. Kellogg's tells consumers why they support Monsanto. This was as recently as 2010. But down here, Kellogg's pledges to reduce Roundup, glyphosate. This was not until 2020. There was still Roundup on our oats. So they tell us that this stuff makes us healthy. They tell us oats are good for us, but then it's laced in Roundup. And I can only imagine what eating this every day would do to you. 4 years ago, there was still Roundup in oats. This is Washington Post. Wow, San Monto is Monsanto. So now you see the links here. Kellogg is JFK, is Monsanto, is Trump. It's all the same thing. Now at this point, Kira goes back through the gate, and then she realizes that all her work created a peaceful world. She goes back to the future. So it's a pretty uneventful finale, but the symbolism with the series was thick. Now, in terms of upcoming decodes, we're going to switch gears and get into some other new release movies. There's Megalopolis that I still need to take a look at. And I have several of the others pulled up. But let's check in with you guys. And we're going to get into this bizarre Biden moment. And then after that, I'll show you the NFL pizza ad. So what happened with Biden? Good morning, everybody. Apparently, Biden put on a MAGA hat. Now, at first, I thought this was fake news. I'm like, there's no way Biden would put on a MAGA hat. But no, you guys, this is real. Let's go to the article here. Wow. Now, one of you sent this to me out of the BBC. Biden wears Trump hat as 9/11 unity gesture. Wow. President Joe Biden briefly wore a red Trump campaign hat at an event commemorating the 23rd anniversary of the 9/11 attacks. So these are two incidents of what appear to be solidarity at the 9/11 memorial event. Remember, Kamala also shook Trump's hand and he said, good job. And he gave her a real good handshake. And then he put his other hand over her hand. He was like, yeah, we've done it. We've thoroughly divided America. Good job for playing your role. You could almost see the look on their faces. I couldn't even believe it. At a time in political history where people are at each other's throats, where families have been divided based on politics, where friends don't even talk to each other based on politics, these two are going to shake each other's hands, and Biden's going to put on a Trump hat? Are you kidding me? And I hope this wakes some people up to the right-left paradigm so that you don't get emotionally invested in all this. Wow. So I'll put a, look at this. Oh, the event in Shanksville. We were just talking about Shanksville, weren't we? We just decoded the actual memorial and showed that it actually pointed directly to the cube at Mecca. Literally, this memorial points there. So that's interesting that they did the memorial there. I thought they were actually in New York, but they weren't for the ceremony. Wow. Just absolutely insane. So, this just goes to show you that this whole thing about Kamala adopting Trump's ideas, remember? Like Trump was criticizing her. He's like, you took all my ideas. And it's true. She's like, went right to the middle. None of this is an accident. None of this is an accident. It's as if the two sides are merging, as we said they would and are. Now, let's take a look at this pizza ad. I always say this, that I couldn't believe this, but it's true. I can't believe some of this stuff. This ad played on TV during like a football game or something. And I'm going to play you this in real speed, and then we're going to slow it down to analyze this even closer. Now, we all know what pizza is to the occult and the elite. Pizza is children. That's how they've renamed pizza. So it's a metaphor. Okay. Now, let's play this, and then we're going to play it in slow motion. Oh, hold on. It's already slow, but let me fix this. Sorry, guys. I was going to play this for you in regular speed and then slow motion. Let's do normal speed. Let's fix this here. Sorry, guys. All right. Now, everybody recognizes these characters. I hope you do. They're these football players. Hopefully this will play for us. I have to watch it. Here we go. Got ads. Skip these ads here. Skip. Okay, let's get to, okay, here we go. Okay, watch this.
I catch stripes from strangers.
I'll take a slice.
I catch big old fish.
Hold on, let's play that back again. So he says, I take rides from strangers. They show a creepy van, and then the creepy guy in the van says, I'll take a slice. Let's try to play that back again.
I catch footballs. I catch stripes from strangers.
I'll take a slice.
I catch big old fish.
Guys, it's free delivery, meaning it's actually free, so there's no catch.
Get me off this wall! Get game day delivered from Little Caesars with free delivery for a limited time. Pizza.
Little Caesars Pizza has aired its new and funny commercial featuring George Kittle and Amon Aray.
George Kittle. And then the other guy's Amon Aray, or sounds like...
Get game day delivered from Little Caesars with free delivery for a limited time. Pizza.
Little Caesars Pizza has aired its new and funny commercial featuring George Kittle and Amon Aray St. Brown. I catch. This is...
All right. Sorry, guys. So, bizarre, isn't it? I've never seen anything like this. Now, I'm not going to play it slow because for some reason I've got so many tabs open. It's just not going to play right. It was even hard for me to pause this to even be able to talk to you guys. But essentially, he says, I want a slice. Now, let me try to back this up a little bit, because this guy in the car, in the van, that says, I want a slice, all creepy, he is wearing something. Let's take a look here. What is this guy wearing? This creepy guy says, I want a slice. Who looks a little bit like Aleister Crowley. Okay, take a good look at this guy in the creepy child abduction van, and you tell me what he's wearing that could indicate child abduction. Let's go back into the chat. Just so you know, this isn't all in our heads, right? Unbelievable. When I tried to look at the license plate, I could not find anything on the license plate. It was a little bit too blurry. But what is he wearing? That kind of confirms our suspicion. They like to sneak in these little things, don't they? They like to sneak them in to troll us. All right. I'll let this chat catch up. Oh, I think we're way behind in the chat. All right. What kind of jacket is that guy wearing? Oh, we also have to get into the Disney Club 33. So we're going to talk about that too. A couple that was kicked out of the club who basically became whistleblowers and were giving up all the goods on Disney Club 33. So we're going to get into that next and a few more stories before we pop off of here. What was he wearing? I'll give you the answer because we're just, this thing's behind a bit. All right. Who's got the answer? Roundup causes gluten intolerance, says Sheldon. Thanks for that. All right. Okay. Let's see who gets what he was wearing in the creepy van. Will not allow thumbs up. Did you guys catch what he was wearing? Biden took the Trump supporters' hat and gave it to supporters. All right, I'm just going to tell you guys the answer because I think this chat is so far behind that it could be a while. We'd just be sitting here waiting. He is wearing a Letterman jacket that a teenager would wear. So, teen, pizza, it's all there. Look, he's even got like rope back here, wire or something to tie someone up. Maybe zip ties. Just so creepy. Now, why would this NFL player agree to something like this? I mean, do you know what you're doing when you do a commercial like this? Do you not see the symbolism? Do you not think this is creepy? So, he's holding a slice of pizza here. Just weird. All these people are sellouts. Now, let's get into something that is actually related to this. And that is this story. Couple who actually paid $50,000 a year. That's how much it costs to be in the Disney Club 33. Now, a lot of that are fast passes and unlimited access to the park. And, you can go to the special restaurant and get free drinks and food, and you could invite guests. So this is all part of the Disney Club 33. But there's something else to this. And they mention it in this article here. And so what I'm going to show you next is a snapshot into what Club 33 may be really about. Now, here they call Walt Disney the Messiah. And you have to wonder, did Walt Disney create this secret club where celebrities could come and get their way and do whatever they want in the safety of the park? Is that what this was really all about? We're not going to read through this whole thing, but let me give you the highlights. They curiously mention down here, because remember, they're whistleblowers. They're talking about how unfair Disney Club 33 was, how they were actually fined and kicked out of the club, and then they were banned. They talk here about Tom Hanks. And they said the only time where they weren't allowed into the club was when Tom Hanks was there on Thanksgiving. They also mention Katy Perry, another known occultist. Now, apparently it was illegal to take pictures in the bathrooms So you have to ask yourself what was going on in the bathrooms. Now they write this off in this article as, oh, it's illegal in California anywhere to take a picture in a bathroom. But I believe there's a deeper story here. Maybe this is where some of this stuff was taking place. And then down here, the couple admits that Walt Disney was a Freemason. I'll put a link to the story, you guys, but this is crazy. Because the interviewer asked them, hey, what about this 33 thing? That was been associated with Freemasons. And the husband says, yes, Walt Disney was a Freemason. Now, you typically don't ever get these people acknowledging any of this or discussing any of this, but they do it in this article. Now, there's a lot more in this article. There's lots of numbers. I could have probably gone through this article and did a whole show just on this to expose all of this stuff. But they basically say it's a cult and Walt Disney was the Messiah and they worshiped him. So that's pretty creepy. Now, what else is going on? Well, tomorrow we'll get into Venezuela, saying that they actually arrested a Navy SEAL for trying to overthrow the government. Also, tomorrow we're going to show you guys basically an otter attacked a child, drug him off, and drowned him in the water in Washington. So I'll show you guys that tomorrow. Animals are acting crazy and weird. I'm back in the chat, you guys. Sorry for the delay in the chat. I do have a lot of tabs pulled open, but that'll all get fixed tomorrow because when I put links to all this in the pinned comment, I'll close all these tabs. So we should be better on the next show. But wow, what a trip, right? Yeah, he's like, oh, I'll take a slice. How creepy is that? Who says that? In the creepy voice, in a creepy van. So they know what's up, you guys. They're just trolling us now at this point because they know that no one will wake up to this. They'll say, like, what are you talking about? That's not what they're talking about. It's just, they're just being silly. Right? This is what we get. This kind of pushback we get. Yes, Peptide 9. That was a Letterman jacket, which connotates a child or a young teen, right? Because adults don't wear Letterman jackets unless you're going to a high school reunion or something. So, wow. All right. Good morning. Yes, he was in a mirror. Thanks, Brian. Great catch there. I noticed that too, but I couldn't think of, how that fit into the context of the ad. I mean, we have talked a lot about the man in the mirror. You could look at it. I mean, might be a bit of a stretch, but detachment syndrome, when this abuse happens, you splinter off, you paperclip off to protect yourself from the trauma. So you go into a smaller version of yourself to shield yourself from the trauma. So that's like a mirror of yourself. So that could be what that's about. But oh my gosh, what is going on with the NFL? All right. Yep. Yep, he was Freemason. Yes, Yabba Dabba. They say that in the article there. Hello from the Netherlands. Drove through there once when I was in France, took a trip up that way through the Netherlands. Gosh, you blink and you drive right through it. All right. Yep, Pleasure Island, Pinocchio. Whoa, Thanksgiving. Good catch there, 322 Messenger. Who pays $50,000 a year to go be part of Disneyland? That's crazy. Not me. All right. Okay, guys, I'm going to pop off here, get ready for tomorrow's show. Thanks for showing up. Hope you guys have a great rest of your weekend. Yeah, it's the weekend. Keep forgetting. Much love, everybody. Take care.